No time for the doubt, they counting me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Refuse, mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like told me, keep on running toes, they gon' take them. Used to lose, built to win, applied myself, I felt it in. No time for the doubt, they counting me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win, yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win, apply myself.
Welcome back to CTC. I am your gracious host, Carl. And man, what a week one we have had. Well, we're still having it. We have a game tonight. We have Duke versus Clemson at 8 o'clock. I previewed that game on my week one preview. If you haven't seen it yet, please go back and watch. That'd be much appreciated. But man, what a week one has been. We had games Thursday night. We had games Friday night. We had games Saturday all throughout the day from noon to Sunday morning. We had games Sunday, 3 games. 2 of them might have been aired. But what a game Sunday night Florida State LSU was. And like I said, now we got the game Labor Day tonight. Before I get started, I would ask that you would please like, comment, and or subscribe if you like the content. If you like the content not only on this show, but the content on this channel, because this isn't just a show, it's a network. We have other shows like Baseball with Teddy. Shout out Teddy. Fantasy Football with Coach Coon. So shout out Coach. We also have the main show with the guys Joe, Tomo, and Dave. So
turn me up.
So if you like the content from if you like the content from either one of those shows, please subscribe. It'd be much appreciated. So I'm gonna get into week one. I'm gonna start with Thursday. I'm gonna recap 3 games. I'm basically recapping the games that I previewed on Wednesday's episode. And one more thing before I do that, the show is Monday because I wanted to include the FSU LSU game in my recap. I didn't want to recap that game on Wednesday. I wanted to get it out fresh, so I held off on making CTC yesterday. So I can get that recap in today. So that's why we have it on Monday. I know y'all used to me having 2 shows a week, but like I said, I wanted to get the FSU game in. So we start with Thursday night, UCF versus Kent State at the Bounce House in UCF in Orlando, Florida. UCF wins the game 56-6. Wasn't even close. I predicted this game to be a blowout. I wasn't sure if they would cover. And UCF left no doubt they covered. Kent State just made mistake after mistake to start the game. I remember their first drive, they got it to like a 3rd and 4 or something like that. And false start, backed them up 5 yards, then convert, had to punt. Then on UCF's second drive, they had an offsides on like 3rd and less than 5, which allowed UCF to get a first down without even attempting to run a play, which led to it was 3rd and 3 on the Kent State 36, which led to a touchdown. 74-yard pass to Krishan McCray was erased on Kent State's second drive. That was erased. It was a huge play down early. It was erased due to an ineligible man downfield. Wiped away a 74-yard touchdown pass. Like I said, that got Kent State down to the UCF 1-yard line. Wiped away by that, which led to a field goal instead of a possible touchdown. Then on the 3rd drive, they missed the field goal. So 3 straight drive, 3 big mistakes led to them being down so early. And when you're playing against a team like UCF or any Power 5 school as a MAC school, you can't afford those mistakes because you're already fighting an uphill battle. You're just making the hill even taller. So can't have those mistakes there. That an interception on the 5th drive which came from after they themselves caught an interception on John Rice Plumlee. So that hurts. And they dropped a deep ball later in the third, which led to a punt. So, man, Kent State was just shooting themselves in the foot left and right. We could not get right this game. Kent State wasn't able to sustain many drives, which is true. They only had 6 points the entire game. A lot of those had to do with their own mental mistakes. A lot of those had to do with UCF defense. The Kent State defense, they were in position a lot, but they did miss a lot of tackles. Now, you can say that was due to the great athleticism of UCF. I know John Rice Plumlee, he's hard to tackle. They have guys, RJ Harvey's hard to tackle. But, yeah, missed a lot of tackles. Xavier Townsend and RJ Harvey, in my opinion, from UCF, besides John Rice Plumlee, who I already knew, jumped off the screen. I mean, Xavier Townsend had 5 catches, 81 yards, and a touchdown, but he had timely catches, drive like big chunk catches, keeping drive alive catches. So Xavier Townsend, to me, he was just making plays for the UCF offense. RJ Harvey had 10 carries for 84 yards, a touchdown, a reception for a 50-yard touchdown. So he had 134 yards total and 2 total touchdowns. Like I said, just jumped off the screen. Johnny Richardson, he had a good game. I think he had 12 carries for 100 yards. Just phenomenal game for UCF offense in general. Kent State can't say the same. John Rice Plumlee looked explosive, but had 2 bad interceptions. He sure did. The one in the end zone, I think that was his first one. Just a bad interception, bad play, just unnecessary. I think they were already up 21-6. You don't have to force anything there. Tried to force one in, got picked off. And he lost a fumble, which, in my opinion, he would have had a phenomenal game, but those 3 turnovers brought it down to a great game. Now, don't get me wrong, still had a great game, but it could have been viewed way better without those 3 turnovers. They only punted once. Like I said, Johnny Richardson, had 12 carries, 100 yards. I got that in my notes. John Rice Plumlee ended the day with 22 of 30, 281 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 8 carries for 90 yards and a touchdown with the 1 fumble. So 4 total touchdowns. Just like I said, explosive. He can use his legs. He's going to try to run people over. He's going to play the game gritty. I like John Rice Plumlee's attitude and stuff like that, especially for the college game. Really good college quarterback. Now, the defensive line looked also really good for UCF. They had 3 sacks. I really don't have much to say about Kent State. Like I said, really shot themselves in the foot a lot all game. That's what's going to come when you have to replace a lot of production. So it's week 1. Teams are going to do that. Unfortunate that they had to go against a Power 5 school like the Big 12 school of UCF, who we're doing really well this year. So Kent State is still remain to be seen what they can actually do. I wouldn't, if I'm a Kent State fan, I wouldn't take this game and go, oh, we're going to suck. Nah, I would say, okay, we got blown out by the way better school. Let's see how we bounce back from this. So that's my takeaway from UCF and Kent State. Moving on, we had probably it was supposed to be game of the day, but I don't know if I would give it game of the day. We had Florida at number 14 Utah.
Stop the cap.
The rematch of last year when Anthony Richardson had that great game and willed Florida to the victory. Well, things didn't work out so much for Florida this year. Utah, where do I start? Utah's Cam Rising didn't play due to the ACL from the Rose Bowl last year. Well, technically last year. It was in January of this year. So the last college football season. Did not play, so Bryce Barnes got to start. Florida missed a 31-yard field goal with 13:35 minutes left. No, excuse me, my bad. Graham Mertz, in my opinion, I jumped from those. Graham Mertz struggled throughout the game. Now, I won't lie. It was one point at the end of the first, going into the second, where I thought Graham Mertz might have settled down. I thought he might have settled into this game. But boy, was I wrong later on and down the line. But we'll get to that. So Utah comes out the gate. Bryce Barnes throws that deep 70-yard touchdown pass to Money Pops. And you, as a Utah fan, you're thinking, here come the fireworks. We're about to light the scoreboard up. Florida defense, they don't have enough. They got a lot of new guys. They're replacing a lot of talent. So I don't know. Like maybe we start running away with this. But Florida settled in. Florida then misses a field goal with 13:55 because the game becomes a defensive struggle right after that touchdown. They miss a field goal. Utah scores. Utah next possession off the field goal scores a touchdown. That was in part due to a 12-man on the field on 4th and 3. Florida was Utah was getting ready to punt the ball to Florida. I think they actually did punt, but then the flag comes. 12 men on the field. Utah gets new life. Scores a touchdown. Then Utah scores a field goal with 2:52 left in the second quarter. To start the third, Graham Mertz throws an interception with 12 left in the third quarter. Sion Vaikai catches the pick, which leads to a Utah touchdown. Florida, man, had a couple of terrible fourth down calls. The one, I think it was a fake jet sweep to a shovel pass on 4th and 3, just got blown up at the line of scrimmage by Utah, deep in Utah territory. Then you had the 4th and 13 screen, which in my opinion, I think Graham Mertz audible to that because, and I'll explain why I think that was somewhat of a smart call. But all right, so look, they're at the line of scrimmage for a while. You see Graham Mertz motion into things. Utah's DBs are like 10 to 12 yards off the ball because it's 4th and 13. It's like 4-on-4. They have guys crowding the line of scrimmage. He thinks a blitz is coming. Now, what do they say? A screen is one of the best calls against a blitz, correct? Cool. So I think he audible seeing that to a screen, a wide receiver screen. He has the running back come in the block. The ball just gets swatted at the line of scrimmage when he tried to make the throw. I think the ball gets swatted or it was a bad pass. But either way, the ball doesn't get to the receiver. It's an incompletion. If that ball gets to that receiver, I think the receiver can make a guy miss and actually score a touchdown on that play. So I won't call that play all the way stupid. I see the logic behind the audible. If that was an audible play call, I do see the logic behind that. But in reality, it didn't work. So a lot of people are going to call it stupid. Eugene Wilson with an incredible catch from Graham Mertz with 9:22 left that led to a touchdown, just straight up head top the receiver in the end zone. Utah defense was able to shut down the run and get to Graham Mertz, which is true. Graham Mertz on that interception. He had to throw the ball earlier than he wanted to. By the time Ricky Pearsall turned around for that interception, the ball was high. I mean, it wasn't high, but it was to the left of Ricky Pearson. It wasn't on him. Ricky Pearson tried to make a catch. Bad ball, but it was due to pressure. The ball gets tipped, intercepted by Utah. In my opinion, Ricky Pearsall was actually one of the bright spots from Florida. 8 catches, 92 yards. I expect that from a veteran guy from Florida that's coming back. He looked really well. Bryson Barnes came out hot, like I said, with the 70-yard touchdown pass. The money popped, but he cooled off towards after that for real. 12 of 18, 159 yards to 1 touchdown. 3 carries, 11 yards for 1 touchdown. When called upon, when Michael Bernard got the football, he was really effective. 7 carries for 45 yards. That's 6.4 yards per carry. That's more than what you can ask for from your running back. The defense had 5 sacks. Utah's defense had 5 sacks. I think they did a really good job of mixing in blitzes and just allowing the 4-man rush to get to Graham Mertz. And my final takeaway from Florida, it's going to be a long season if Graham Mertz doesn't figure it out for Florida. Now, I'm not going to say it's all Graham Mertz, but I am going to say a lot of it is Graham Mertz. Graham Mertz, in my opinion, was the reason why Wisconsin wasn't as good as they were supposed to be last year or could have been last year. And now I'm seeing some of the same things at Florida. So they have to figure this out. Maybe it's more so offense. Maybe they got to figure out a better offense. Maybe they got to figure out ways to get the ball out of Graham Mertz's hands quicker and more efficiently. I don't know. But Florida has to figure something out with Graham Mertz, or this is going to be a long year. Moving on, we have, my opinion, the game of the night, Thursday night, Nebraska at Minnesota. I don't know how many people watched this game, but I watched this game, and I had fun watching this game. I get the final score was only 10-13, low-scoring game, but this is a battle of what Big Ten football is about. Defense, clock control, running the ball. Hey, look, my team is tougher than yours. We're going to beat you in the trenches. We're going to run the ball down your throat. We're going to throw the ball here and there where we have to, but it's just smash mouth football, and I love it. Now, Nebraska. I chose Nebraska to win this game. And late in the fourth quarter, I feel great about my choice. Then Nebraska pulled a grade A choke job. Nebraska at every turn, whatever play could have been made to lose the game, they made it. Let's start with the Anthony Grant fumble. He fumbled the ball, which led to a Daniel Jackson spectacular touchdown catch. If you have yet to see the touchdown catch, I recommend you looking it up. It's a spectacular catch. He does the Jordan logo to get his back foot in bounds while his front foot is about to step out of bounds. It's a crazy catch. Go watch it. But I digress. After the fumble, Minnesota is moving the ball. 3rd and goal. Kelly Agmanis throws what should have been a game-losing interception, which is dropped on 3rd and goal, which then leads to the Daniel Jackson 4th and goal touchdown. But I want to talk about that for a second. Nebraska looks like they're playing like maybe like a cover. I say like a cover 4 or some type of defense where the DBs have help inside. It's like not an inverted, but just a form of it. I don't know what the exact coverage is, but the DBs have inside help. The DBs just have to stay outside. Your outside DBs have to stay outside. Don't get beat outside. I believe it was Omar Kelly, and I could be wrong. Daniel Jackson gives a mean post fake. He runs a mean post corner. He fakes inside. DB jumps inside, runs the corner. If you look at the play, there's either a DB or a linebacker. I know the number is 33. He's a DB or linebacker underneath. If he runs the post, he's running right into that linebacker or DB. It's not going to be open. Agmanis will have to throw a beautiful ball to fit it between the linebacker and to get it to Daniel Jackson. DB jumps inside. Daniel Jackson runs the corner, is wide open, and makes a spectacular catch. But if the DB stays disciplined, doesn't jump, doesn't bite, it's not open, it's not there. Nebraska D-line can hunt, probably gets to him and turn the ball over, right? Ties the game at 10-10. And I'm thinking, okay, Jeff Sims, we're going to have to drive. Now, Jeff Sims at the time had 2 interceptions, and Anthony Grant fumbled the ball. Now, Jeff Sims is starting to drive. Throws an interception right to Tyler Nubin. Tyler Nubin catches the pick. Minnesota gets in field goal range. Minnesota actually commits a penalty to get out of field goal range or make a tougher field goal. And Nebraska gives up like 8 to 10 yards on a run play to make it a way closer field goal and lose the game. Nebraska at every turn tried and succeeded in losing this game. Nebraska should have won this game. I'm going to get into a little bit prior to the end now since, I just gave a recap on the end. But like I said, defensive struggle. Ethan Kelly Agmanis, in my opinion, he looked really good early. He was 6 and 9 on 3rd down. He just looked like you couldn't get him off the field. It was 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 30. It didn't, well, obviously, it didn't go 3rd and 30. I'm just exaggerating, but 30, it just seemed like you couldn't get him off the field. Looks, no matter what Nebraska threw at him, he was poised, got the first down. Corey Crooms looked really well in the first half. First half, he had 6 catches for 43 yards. Was Kelly Agmanis' go-to in the first half. Really quiet down in the second half. I think he only finished with 7 catches, so 1 catch in the second half. Jeff Sims threw 3 interceptions, like I said. Threw 2 back-to-back on position. So he threw 2 picks back-to-back, and then 1 to lose the game. He had the 1 at the end of the first half where you have points. You don't have to force nothing. If nothing's there, you throw the ball out the back of the end zone and you take your 3 points, which would have tied the game at 3-3, throws a pick, 3-0, you get away. You leave with nothing. Luckily, Nebraska got the ball to end the half, to start the second half. And when that happened, they had a huge kick return to the 35-yard line. 2 plays later, they ran like a throwback pass. So it was like a toss. He threw it back to Jeff Sims. The play was actually broken. Like it was executed poorly, but Minnesota bit so much that the poor execution in the backfield, the receiver was still wide open for a 34-yard touchdown pass. Even though when he threw the ball back to Jeff Sims, the ball was like he didn't even catch it. It was luckily it was thrown backwards. If he did throw it forward, it'd been incomplete. But he threw it backwards, so it was a fumble. Jeff Sims had to pick up the fumble and throw it 34 yards down to a wide open touchdown. So that gave Nebraska's only touchdown to go up 7-3. Kelly Agmanis throws a pick with 5:19 left in the third quarter. Omar Brown catches said interception, which leads to a touchdown. And that's when the game unravels. That's when later in the game, the fumble happens, the touchdown, the interception, and then the game-winning field goal. So my takeaways: Daniel Jackson looked phenomenal. He looked really talented. I see why everybody in Minnesota said he's looking to be the breakout receiver. 9 catches, 68 yards in that game-tying touchdown. Jeff Sims, on passing wise, still a lot of work to be done there with Jeff Sims. I know he went 11 for 19, but 3 interceptions is unacceptable, especially 2 of them being at the end of halves. One cost you points, one cost you the game. Unacceptable. Can't have it. Both defenses played really well. Both defenses was just out there hitting, everything moving, flying to the football, just making plays. Great defensive game there. Moving on to Friday, we got my Michigan State Spartans home debut versus Central Michigan. And I won't lie, I'm smiling now, but first half, boy, I was not smiling. I was doing more cursing than smiling. First play of the game, however, round, prayers up. Tried to make a block on the kickoff, and guy had to get spine boarded off the field. So prayers up to Alante Brown. I hope everything goes well. Ooh, that is not good, and especially after with the thing with Jalen Carter, that is not good. So sad to see there. Thank you, Dave. Sad to see there with Jarvis Jones. But yeah, Nate Carter breaks a 31-yard run to start the game. I'm like, yes, all right, bet. Michigan State's here. We're going to run the football. They can't stop us. They're too small in the trenches. We're going to dominate. No. Michigan State first half went something like this. First down on the first set of downs, punt. Could never sustain the drive to get another first down after getting the first down. I.e., first drive, 31 yards. After that, turnover on downs. Could not get a 4th and 1. Could not get enough push against Central Michigan to get a 4th and 1. Blows it up. Disappointing. Then CMU drives all the way down the field. Now, I will say my defense had a great goal line stand. Shut them down the first 3 downs. Got a stupid unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Had to start all over. Still shut them out the end zone. 4th down, got like a 10-yard sack. Brett Emanuel had nowhere to go with the ball. He tried to avoid the sack, but he failed. College, once you fall, you're down. So you can't get back up even if you're not touched. It's over. So that drive ended there. MSU did nothing with it, however. MSU gets the stop. Just a punt fest. MSU actually breaks the drought with a field goal, with 6:55 left in the second quarter. Then MSU turns the ball over on downs again. After we get the ball, we drive. 4th and 1 again gets blown up by Central Michigan. Don't get enough push to get a first down on 4th and 1 against Central Michigan, but we have the bigger trenches, the stronger trenches. Couldn't get it done. I don't know what it is. Couldn't get it done. Maybe it was just the first game jitters because we had a lot of drops too. Malik Carr had some drops. Trey Mosley had a drop. Just drop footballs, overthrown passes. Just a lot of cursing at my TV from me. So we turned the ball over with 3:11 left in the second quarter on downs. After we got from the roughing the passer, CMU scores a touchdown off of that after 2 face mask calls by MSU, which were correctly called, and I can't say they weren't. We get 2 face mask calls. CMU capitalizes, throws a 12-yard touchdown to Chris Parker. So CMU goes up 7-3, and I'm thinking, oh, man, we're about to be in a ball game with Central Michigan. This is not good. But MSU gets it together before half. 2 huge catches by Glover. 2 huge catches by Glover leads to an MSU touchdown to go up 10-7 at the half. I'll take it. Jerron Glover, let me give him his credit. Drive capped off by a Nate Carter touchdown run. Coming out the half, my guy, the boogeyman, a guy who I have as a dark horse for best linebacker in the country, catches an interception off a tip pass with 11:31 left in the third quarter. And I think that just sparked the whole momentum, changed the momentum. MSU scored a touchdown after CMU defensive pass interference with 2:42 left in the third quarter. Jalen Berger has a 12-yard touchdown run. MSU scores 2 more touchdowns on 2 straight drives to ice the game off 2 spectacular catches. Malik Carr had some terrible drops, but had a spectacular catch in the end zone. And then Tyrell Henry going backwards, one hand catch on a fade ball in the red zone. What a catch. Tyrell Henry might be a baller and remains to be seen. I'm not going to be too high or too low off this CMU game, but what a catch by them. We end up winning the game 31-7. How the game should have gone. Second half is how the game should have been the entire game. But like I said, we're young. Noah Kim's a new quarterback, new starter. We're replacing Keon Coleman, who I will talk about later for Florida State. Just young on the offense. Defense, we got some guys we replacing in the secondary too. So just they are college kids. So first half was terrible. Second half was great. I'm excited not to see what we do against Akron because I expect us to dominate Akron. This is a game we should dominate, but I'm excited to see how we do against Washington. Yeah, so moving on, we had another game of the Battle of Miami's where Brett Gabbert came out and said, we're going to show you who the real Miami is. Well, you did a terrible job at doing that. Miami of Ohio loses 3-38 at Miami at Hard Rock Cafe Stadium. Not much really to say about this game. Miami defense dominated the Red Hawks from start to finish. Gave up only 3 points. Brett Gabbert can't get much going on offense. Neither can the run game get much going on offense. Tyler Van Dyke, they started off the game with a 44-yard touchdown off of a screen with 13:26 left. And I thought that would start fireworks for Miami, which it later did, but not at the beginning. They did score a field goal with 4:02 left in the first quarter. But Tyler Van Dyke does throw an interception with 11:02 left in the second quarter. But Miami gets 2 straight field goals to end the half. Miami scored on 4 of its first 6 drives in the first half. Scored on 3 of their first 4, 3 of their last 4 in the second half. Not counting, the end of drive. You get the ball, you just trying to get the game over with. They're not trying to score, so I'm not going to count that as a drive. So Miami of Ohio couldn't get much going on offense, like I said. Defense played fast and aggressive for the U. Cam Kitchens was everywhere, but that's what you expect from your ACC safety. Defense, my bad. They were able to run the ball at will. They had 36 carries for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns. So running game was phenomenal. A bright spot I have for Miami of Ohio was Gage Larvadane, who had 8 catches for 80 yards, which is 10 yards per catch. So shout out to him. He had a pretty good game. Just one man can't beat a Power 5 school when you're a MAC school. I'm sorry. So shout out to him. But moving on, we had the game of the night, in my opinion, Friday night. Louisville against Georgia Tech in Atlanta. So Louisville ended up winning this game 39-34. Now, I thought this game was going to be much low scoring. I wouldn't say I wasn't too high. I'm not high on Georgia Tech. Really, there's a lot of unknowns there. Same for me with Louisville, a lot of unknowns. So I didn't really know what to expect. I thought these defenses would be better, though. Haynes King starts the game. He throws a pick, which was kind of like ricocheted. Throws a pick with 13:53 left in the first quarter, which led to a Louisville field goal. The pick was actually like in Louisville, like red zone. So for them to stop them to only get a field goal, which was amazing for Georgia Tech's defense. The game becomes a defensive struggle there. Then so I'm like, all right, the game is going kind of how I expected to. Becomes a defensive struggle. Louisville kicks a field goal with 21 seconds left in the first quarter, which makes the game 6-0 to end the first. But then Georgia Tech comes down and responds with a touchdown with 11:56 left in the second quarter. Haynes King, a 2-yard touchdown pass to Brett Scyther. Then Georgia Tech, out of nowhere, gets an offensive burst. They score 4 straight touchdowns in the second quarter alone. The 1 touchdown I told you about and 3 straight more. This just goes on fire on offense in the second quarter. Louisville can't keep up. Louisville scores a touchdown in the second. Jack Plummer, a 9-yard touchdown to Kevin Coleman, but it's not enough. I believe Georgia Tech is up like 28-16 at halftime. Louisville starts. Yep. Georgia Tech does catch an interception prior to the end of the half, but they missed their field goal. So they have 28 points. 28 points scored in the second quarter. They're up at halftime. But then Louisville starts the third quarter with a field goal with 8:23 left in the quarter. The next Louisville drive, they score a touchdown. Jack Plummer, 5-yard touchdown to Jamari Thrash. And now Louisville starting to get a hang of the game. They're starting to settle in on offense. Georgia Tech misses another field goal to start the fourth quarter with 11:11 left in the game. Louisville then scores another touchdown to go up after a missed field goal. Jack Plummer, a 20-yard touchdown to Jamari Thrash. They missed a 2-point conversion, but they're up 29-28. They try to get the two to go up 31-28, unsuccessful. Desmond Taylor forces a sack fumble with 4 minutes and 3 seconds left in the fourth quarter after 2 Louisville penalties, which leads to a Louisville touchdown. So now Louisville's now up 8 going in late in the fourth quarter. Louisville turns Georgia Tech over on downs. They get a stop on fourth down and Georgia Tech territory, which leads to a Louisville field goal to go up 11. And for all my gamblers out there who took the Louisville -7.5 or wherever you quoted, some might have quoted at 8.5, some probably might have quoted at 7.5. Georgia Tech gets a backdoor touchdown to end the game, making the score a 5-point game, 39-34. So, yeah, for gambling purposes, they tried to go for 2, but they didn't get it to make it a 3-point game and go onside kicking instead, etc. But for gambling purposes, backdoor touchdown hurts. It has to hurt, but Louisville ended up winning this game, which I picked Louisville to win this game. Pretty good game. Louisville showed resiliency. Jack Plummer showed resiliency. He fought back, had a great second half. Louisville had a great second half. They locked in on Georgia Tech's offense, was able to turn them over, able to lock in and stop them. They allowed 28 points in the second quarter. Quarters 1, 3, and 4, they only allowed 6 points. So way to lock in there on defense. A takeaway, Louisville defense might still be pretty good. Just might have had a lapse in the second quarter. Things happen. Might have been Georgia Tech might have just caught fire in the second quarter. It remains to be seen. Louisville will be tested throughout the season. So my thing with Georgia Tech offense, Haynes King might be pretty good under Brett Key in his offense. Like I said, the second quarter is an outlier, but who knows? The defense was flying around. I think the Georgia Tech lost some D-backs late in the game, which might have allowed Louisville to score as well. But I think these teams are better than what was predicted at the beginning of the season. Now, some people are super high on Louisville, so I won't say that for them. But Georgia Tech might be better than expected in the ACC. Might win some games. I had them losing. So we move on to Saturday. And if I made this game first, because I know a lot of people might have wanted to hear about this game first, so I made it first. Saturday noon, we had Colorado, Deion Sanders going into TCU. I can't even say defending pack Big 12 champs. They lost the championship game and they lost the Natty, but they did make it to the national championship game. Now, this is one thing I will say. Now, I'm gonna be fair. TCU came in this game ranked 17. Colorado came in here, as predicted by a lot of analysts, as the worst college football roster in the country, even over teams like UMass, other teams like UConn. Even though I think those teams are not the worst, but I think they're better than expected. Under teams like Colorado State, they had them as the worst roster. So, two sides of this thing. First, Colorado wasn't even expected to be close in this game, right? Nobody made the narrative that, TCU was overranked. This ain't the same TCU as the national championship team. Nobody said none of that before this game. All it was TCU was going to come in at home, get this victory, go through the motions and get a W. This roster is not good enough. Coach Prime in his first year is going to take a lot of lumps. That was the narrative coming into this game. Now that Colorado has won this game 45-42, now you hear, this isn't the same TCU team. They have a lot of replace, blah, blah, blah. No, you can't have it both ways. You can't come into this game saying that TCU is going to run through Colorado. Colorado has no chance. They have the worst roster. They win the game, and now you want to say, this isn't the same TCU team. This TCU team is a shell of the national championship. They got a lot of production to replace. You can't, if you were on that first side, you can't then switch to the second side and say, no. You can't then say, this ain't the same team. Now, this is one thing I will say about people that's trying to talk about the Colorado win. I don't like that they're saying this is the same team that made the national championship, because that is false. If I don't like the false narrative of the first one, I got to be fair and say I don't like that narrative as well. Okay, I had them losing. So what? I didn't have them getting blown out. I had them being a close game, but losing. This is okay. So what? But anyway, you can't say this is not the same team. I mean, this is the same national championship team. The quarterback from that national championship team, gone to the NFL. The running back from the national championship team, gone to the NFL. Quentin Johnston from that NFL team, gone to the NFL. D. Winters from that national championship team, well, national champ runner-up team, gone to the NFL. Trey Hodges-Tomlinson, who won the Jim Thorpe for the best DB in the country award, gone to the NFL. So a lot of that production is gone. So this is not the same team that made it to the national championship game last year. So I can't allow that false narrative to be pushed. But I will not also allow people to say, oh, it's just TCU. TCU is not the same. No, because if you were saying that Colorado had the worst record in roster, then keep the same energy, and they shouldn't have won the game, and they won. So you just going to have to eat crow. It's like people try to find ways to justify why they were wrong. And instead of just saying we were wrong, like me, I was wrong. I had TCU winning in a close one. I was wrong. But I did take Colorado in the points, so cool. But I was wrong in picking head-to-head, and I'll take that. I'm happy I'm wrong. I've got Colorado winning 6 games. I didn't put the ticket in like I said I would. I didn't like the payout. But I had them going over the 3.5. So I'm happy I'm wrong here. Now let's get into the game. Colorado scored on his first drive. Shedeur Sanders has a 4-yard touchdown pass to Dylan Edwards, who had an amazing game through the air, funny enough. Chandler Morris throws an interception to Trevor Woods in the red zone. Trevor Woods made a spectacular play to catch the pick. Much more on spectacular interceptions later. The interception did lead to, however, Colorado having a blocked field goal. So didn't get any points off of it, but a turnover is still good. The blocked field goal led to a 7-yard touchdown run by Trey Sanders, the former Alabama running back, now TCU, with 13 minutes and 57 seconds left in the second quarter. Colorado responds with a touchdown off of a TCU defensive pass interference on 3rd and goal. That was on Travis Hunter in the end zone when his foot was out of bounds. They originally called it a touchdown, but he was out, so they took the penalty. Savion Wilkerson scores on a 2-yard touchdown run. TCU misses a field goal with 3:16 left in the second half. Dylan Edwards then fumbles off of that missed field goal, which led to a 4-yard touchdown run by Trey Sanders, who ties the game at 14. But Colorado gets a field goal to make the score 17-14 at half. And then some people at halftime was like, can they do it? I know I was. Colorado up 17-14. I mean, Big 12 schools ain't known for defense, neither is Pac-12. So can Colorado win a shootout? The answer is yes, they did, 47-42. Now, Colorado and TCU both scored touchdowns to open their second half drives. Chandler Morris throws a red zone interception to Travis Hunter, who makes a phenomenal play. You even hear in the background, throw at Travis, let's go. No. Don't do that, sir. Do not do that. That ball is going the other way. Travis Hunter makes I don't even know what to call it. It looks like an instinctual play. Like, it just looked like instinct. There is a drag, I think, coming across from the outside to the left. He passes the drag. He kind of baits the running back wheel. The wheel looks open. Chandler Morris throws it. Boom. Travis Hunter baits it, jumps it. It looks like a trap, kind of like a trap play, trap coverage, something like that. But makes a phenomenal play, catches the pick. We going the other way, which leads to each team scoring 3 straight touchdowns. Yes, 6 straight touchdowns in total, 3 from each team. Colorado turns TCU over on downs to win the game after getting the first down with that. So Colorado wins the shootout 45-42. Shedeur Sanders. A lot of guys think he's at Colorado. He's a starting quarterback because of nepotism. They think, it's only because your father, why you play quarterback, why you start, you're not that good. Well, Shedeur Sanders shut a lot of people up, going 38 for 47, 510 yards, and 4 touchdowns. 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. Phenomenal game. Only 9 incompletions. Dylan Edwards, 6 carries, 24 yards, a touchdown, 5 catches, 135 yards, and 3 touchdowns as a running back in the passing game. Phenomenal game. Travis Hunter, 11 catches, 119 yards, and an interception. Travis Hunter, great game. Played most of the game. Not just most of the offense series, not most of the defense series, most of the game. And had a pick and 100 yards and 10+ catches. That is phenomenal. That is Heisman Trophy winning worthy stuff. Just can't say too much more about Travis Hunter than he's a dog. He's a baller. You see why he was number 1 overall in his recruiting class, while Florida State was burning Deion Sanders jerseys, Burn it, saying Deion Sanders is no longer a Seminole when he was able to flip Travis Hunter from Florida State to Jackson State at the time when Deion was at Jackson State. You see it. You see the talent. You see the dog. You see all of that with Travis Hunter. Shout out to the young man. He did everything he said he was going to do game one. I hope he can keep it going. I know he will keep it going. Not I hope. I know he will keep it going. Colorado had 4 pass catchers over 110 yards. 4 over 110 yards. I think Jimmy Horn, Travis Hunter, Dylan Edwards. I can't remember the last one off top. I'm so sorry, sir. But Chandler Morris, he had a pretty decent game himself. 24-42, 279 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 5 carries for 30 yards and a touchdown. So 3 total touchdowns. Imani Bailey, 14 carries, 164 yards. Great game. Mad I couldn't see it live. Mad I couldn't watch it. I was at work. I didn't get off work till like 6. Didn't get home from work till like 6:30, so I missed it. I caught a little bit here and there. Thankfully enough, I did catch the Travis Hunter pick. I caught the Woods interception. I caught the Edwards, the Dylan Edwards long touchdown pass catch. So I caught some, but I didn't catch a lot. My final thoughts on the game. I understand if you have worries about this Colorado defense moving forward. My only answer to you is they're in the Pac-12 for the last Pac-12 season. Nobody plays defense. It's rare you find a Pac-12 defense. So it's going to be a lot of shootouts in the Pac-12, and I think they're built to win a couple of those. So defense is a worry for a lot of schools in the Pac-12. So there you go there. TCU, a heartbreaking loss, a home loss, but they'll bounce back. I don't think TCU is as bad as people try to make them seem now that they lost to Colorado, now that they're trying to diminish Deion's win. I don't think they're that bad. Like I said, when you're replacing a lot of production, you're gonna have your lumps. They took that lump. I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be able to bounce back. Moving on, I don't have much about this next game. Virginia at Tennessee. That is at the number 12 ranked Tennessee. Joe Milton looked great. Wide receivers had a couple drop passes. Wide receiver dropped a dime. Joe Milton threw a dime, like 70 yards from the opposite hash. Receiver dropped it. Tennessee scores on his first drive. Joe Milton, 9-yard touchdown pass to Dylan Sampson. On the second drive, they turn the ball over on downs, which leads to a UVA missed field goal. Game becomes a defensive struggle until a Dylan Sampson 3-yard touchdown run with 4:41 left in the second quarter. UVA kicks a field goal with 1:42 left in the second quarter, but they give Tennessee too much time as Tennessee drives down and scores a touchdown right before the half with a Joe Milton 1-yard touchdown run to make the score 21-6 at halftime. Tennessee then scores touchdowns on 4 out of the next 5 drives, so just gets hot, gets it going. UVA can't stop it. UVA turns the ball over on downs in between and scores 1 touchdown in between. So I'm not going to say too much on the Tennessee UVA game. Tennessee did what they were supposed to do. They had a couple bad drops, but again, it's week 1. Things are going to happen. But overall, they dominated the game from start to finish. Did what they're supposed to do. UVA is not projected to do well this year, so I didn't expect too much out of that game. Moving on, we go to Fresno State, who upset Purdue 39-35. Some people probably wouldn't call it an upset, but in terms of the gambling odds, Fresno State was like 3.5, 4.5-point dogs. So I'm gonna call it an upset. I did pick Purdue to win this game. I thought it would be a shootout, to be honest. I really like Mikey King, the transfer from UCF, a nice little pocket passer, and I'll get to him. Boy, did he have a great game. And I thought Hudson Card was pretty cool. I think he's pretty good. I think he's a pretty good college quarterback. I think he's going to be good enough to run this Purdue offense. But defensively, I didn't have high expectations from either team. We'll start going into the game. Purdue scores a touchdown on his first drive. Hudson Card, an 84-yard touchdown pass to Deion Burks. Fresno State then scores a touchdown. Mikey Keene, a 29-yard touchdown pass to Eric Brooks. Purdue scores after Fresno State defensive pass interference with a Tyrone Tracy 1-yard touchdown run. Fresno State scores a touchdown to tie it up at 14. Now, this touchdown has a little bit of controversy. The referees missed an eligible receiver downfield on this play. It was like an RPO. Mikey King scrambles out left. He throws a touchdown to a wide open Jalen Moss. But again, missed an eligible man downfield. I mean, refs are human too, I guess. So 14-14 it is. Purdue responds with a touchdown after Fresno State defensive pass interference again. Leads to a Hudson Card 17-yard touchdown pass to Deion Burks. Fresno State then misses a field goal with 59 seconds left. And in the second quarter, first half, from 21 yards out, pretty inexcusable. After a Purdue hold, Fresno State then scores a 52-yard field goal before the half, which is kind of crazy. You missed from 21, but you hit from 52. Kind of nuts, but it's football, ladies and gentlemen. Purdue starts second half with a Tyrone Tracy 98-yard kickoff return. Now, I didn't watch this game. I didn't watch any of the 12 o'clock games live. Like I said, I was at work. We got to pay these bills, folks. But in my opinion, if I was watching this game and I seen Tyrone Tracy break a 98-yard touchdown kickoff return thank you, Ty, Xavier Weaver, at home against Fresno State, I would have thought, man, ball game. Purdue wins this game. That's too much momentum. Fresno State has a huge battle to fight, but they didn't give up. They kept fighting. Yeah, that's funny. But, they kept fighting. After the kickoff return, Purdue misses a field goal with 10:43 left in the third quarter. Fresno State then scores 2 straight touchdowns after the missed field goal to go up. Purdue turns the ball over on downs after the second touchdown, which leads to a Fresno interception. Purdue Devins Maccabee then scores an 11-yard touchdown run with 4:36 left in the game. Mikey King throws a 22-yard touchdown pass to Eric Brooks with 59 seconds left in the game, which basically ends the game. So that's the 59. That's a go-ahead touchdown, basically game-winning touchdown. Purdue turns the ball over on downs to lose the game. Just a shootout of a game. Like I said, Fresno State hung in there, faced a lot of adversity, won the game. They also won $1.3 million. So if for those of you that's confused, like, why did Purdue pay Fresno State? Power 5 schools tend to pay lesser schools to play non-conference games because it's perceived that they're just going to beat up on them, which over the years happens less and less now. Like, they still get paid, but the assumption that Big Ten schools, or not Big Ten, Power 5 schools are just going to beat up on lower schools, that assumption has gone down less and less, more and more as the years progress. Like, for example, you just seen Texas State beat Baylor. Texas State got paid to play that game and beat Baylor. 26.5 point underdogs. Won the game. So you'll see a lot of that. All right, so Mikey King, phenomenal game. 31 for 44, 366 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Eric Brooks had 9 catches, 170 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Hudson Card went 17 for 30, 254, and 2 touchdowns, while Deion Burks had 4 catches, 152 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So half his catches were touchdowns, 152 yards. That's a phenomenal game. Moving on, we go to a Louisiana Tech at SMU. And I don't have too much for this game. What I will say is not – so SMU did what I expected it to. I probably expected a little bit more points, but 38 is still a lot of points. Louisiana Tech, on the other hand, I thought they would be able to take advantage of SMU not being that great defensively, and boy, was I wrong. One of my keys to the game was Hank Bachmeier has to take care of the football. He throws a pick 6. One of my keys to the game was Get Smoke has the ball. Didn't really do much against SMU. So, leads to an SMU victory, win by 24. The game starts with 3 punts, which was shocking. And Louisiana Tech actually missed the opportunity to score first. So, it was a SMU punt, Louisiana Tech punt, SMU punt, Louisiana Tech missed field goal with 4:28 left in the first quarter. Preston Stone then, off of that, throws a 67-yard touchdown pass to Jordan Hudson. Hank Bachmeier then, like, as soon as the touchdown happened, next possession, Hank Bachmeier throws the pick 6, which I actually saw that when I looked in, when I had time from work. Throws the pick 6 to Corey Robinson. SMU scores a field goal and a 9-yard touchdown pass on the next 2 drives. SMU scores a touchdown right before half. Preston Stone, 25-yard touchdown to R.J. Maryland. Louisiana Tech scored a touchdown after halftime. Hank Bachmeier to Kobe Duru, 53 yards. SMU missed 2 straight field goals. So I bet the over on this game, so that hurt. All these missed field goals and missed opportunities, that hurt. Louisiana Tech and SMU turned the ball over on downs, and both SMU and Louisiana Tech end the game on touchdowns. So a lot of I ain't gonna say too much here. SMU offense still isn't as potent. Maybe he's probably going to get more potent. It was his first game. This was Louisiana Tech's second game. And like I said in the week 1 preview, Louisiana Tech's not going to hold SMU to 4 passing yards like they did FIU. It's not going to happen. But they didn't get killed either. Like, they didn't throw for 300, 350 like SMU is accustomed to. It was a pretty solid game for SMU passing-wise. I think Louisiana Tech passing defense might be pretty solid for a Conference USA school. So, shout out to that defense. That's the only bright spot I really have. Hank Bachmeier still has to figure it out. He's a veteran guy. Hopefully he will. And Louisiana Tech can get a couple W's start the season. Moving on, we have Utah State at Iowa. And I laugh because I know Iowa fans, they scored 2 touchdowns in their first 2 drives. They're like, oh, Iowa can actually play offense now? Oh, we're going to be a threat. And proceeded to score 10 points the rest of the game. So I laugh because Iowa still can't produce points at a high clip. They'll be always great defensively. Offensively, just scoring points is not their MO. No matter who's a quarterback, no matter what. It's just not their MO. Most years, you're not going to have a high-power Iowa offense. If Iowa ever gets a high-power offense, that might be the year that they're national championship contenders. But I digress. Moving into the game. Like I said, Iowa scored a 36-yard touchdown pass. Cade McNamara to Seth Anderson on the first drive. Then they scored again on their second drive on 4th and goal, a 3-yard touchdown pass to Eric All from Cade McNamara, the Michigan transfer. Then Iowa turns the ball over on downs with 2 minutes and 7 seconds left in the first quarter, which leads to a Utah State field goal. Cooper Legas throws an interception to Xavier Wakpa, which leads to an Iowa field goal. And they scored 17 in the first half. They scored 7 in the second. Utah State scores a field goal to open the second half. Both teams punt the ball twice before Iowa breaks that drought by scoring a touchdown with Caleb Johnson 3-yard touchdown run. 2 possessions later, Utah State turns the ball over on downs with 3:42 left in the game. But then Utah State scores a late, pretty much garbage time touchdown with Cooper Legas throwing a 16-yard touchdown pass to Terrell Vaughn. The 2-point conversion ended up being good. Utah State turns the ball over on downs to end the game. And, yeah, that's pretty much the game there. Like I said, Iowa offense looked like they had legs to start the game, but nah, it just don't work like that, Iowa. I'm sorry. Y'all are just destined right now to not have an explosive offense. And it sucks because I have a great defense. Y'all always have top-tier defenses. As soon as y'all get that offense together, y'all will click. Utah State actually scored more points than I thought they would in this game. 14 against this Iowa defense is nothing to sneeze at. Of course, we had them losing. Now, FanDuel had Iowa like 24.5-point favorites. They didn't even score 24.5 points. So, I was scared to take Utah State plus the points because I thought Iowa State defense would shut them out. But if you ever see Iowa as 20 or more point favorites, hey, look, I wouldn't be mad at you if you took the dogs, but I digress. We go now into Saturday afternoon games, the 3:30 to 7. First game I have is Boise State at Washington. Washington comes in ranked 10th in the country. The game starts with 3 straight punts. Again, a shocker, especially when Washington had that great kickoff return, which leads to a punt. It went punt, Boise State punt, Washington punt, Boise State scoring the first touchdown of the game on their second drive, which the point after was no good, so it's 6-0. Then Washington responds with a 4-yard touchdown run. Boise State kicks a field goal with 12:06 left in the second quarter to go up 9-7. Washington then scored a 38-yard touchdown pass, Michael Penix to Jalen McMillan with 7:42 left in the second quarter, and that just brought fireworks for Washington. Penix then throws a 44-yard touchdown to Jalen Polk to score back-to-back touchdowns. Talon Green throws an interception with 2:10 left in the second quarter, which leads to another Washington touchdown. Boise State scores a field goal to end the half, which scored at halftime like 28-12. From there, Boise State scores a 50-yard touchdown out of the half, Green to Ashton Genty off a screen. Washington would then score touchdowns on 4 of the next 5 drives. Like I said, Washington got real comfy and got real explosive, scoring 4 touchdowns, making the final score 56-19. Washington would then score Michael Penix, 29 for 40, 450 yards, 5 touchdowns. Rome Aduzier, 7 catches, 132 yards, and a touchdown. Jalen Polk, 3 catches, 101 yards, and a touchdown. And Jalen McMillan, 8 catches, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns. Just explosive game from Washington. Slow start, week 1. But after they got comfy, it was fireworks from then on. Now, this game made me smile a little bit. We had number 3, Ohio State at Indiana. Final score, 23-3, ladies and gentlemen. No, I'm not joking. 28-3. Ohio State scores a touchdown on the opening drive with a Mayan Williams 7-yard touchdown run. I'm like, all right. Ohio State just going to blow them out like we expect. Might be 49-zip. Might be 49-7, 56-7. Something Ohio State a lot to Indiana a little bit. But that's not how it went, ladies and gentlemen. There were punts the next 3 drives and an Ohio State interception with 10-18 left. Kyle McCloud throws a pick with 10-18 left in the second quarter. The interception leads to an Indiana field goal with 6:15 left in the second quarter. Indiana then turns the ball over on downs. In fact, Dave, 2 catches. I know he got hurt in the middle of the game, but only had 2 catches. I think he had 2 for 18 and a touchdown. Indiana turns the ball over on downs, which leads to an Ohio State field goal. Both teams punt their first drive in the second half. Ohio State gets a field goal again with 6:42 left in the third quarter. Mayan Williams with another 3-yard touchdown run with 1 minute and 51 seconds left in the third quarter. Indiana turns the ball over on downs, which leads to another Ohio State field goal with 4:17 left in the fourth quarter. So Marvin Harrison Jr. did not score. I'm sorry. He didn't. Indiana, got that. 2 punts to end the game. Ohio State just struggled against Indiana, which is not a good sign. But it's week 1, so can't read too much into it. New quarterback, first game ever in this kind of situation, and it's a conference game, so he doesn't have a tune-up game against West Alabama, Bowling Green. Sorry, Mac. Got schools like that, Eastern Washington. No tune-up game. He's thrown right into the Big Ten Conference fire. Struggle as I won't say as to be expected, but he just struggled. I think Ohio State goes back, looks at film, corrects a lot of mistakes, probably a lot of just mental mistakes, fixes those things. I think they have a tune-up game next week. They'll be fine. But the Michigan State fan in me wants to say, oh, it's been looking bad for Ohio State. We might got a shot at them this year. So I'm gonna leave y'all with that. These next 2 games, I really don't have much to speak about. UMass at Auburn, UMass 14, Auburn 59. I said in my preview, can Tyson Pumachan pass the ball to can he get a pass game going? He could not. He actually threw a pick, didn't throw a touchdown. He ran one in, but couldn't get nothing going in the air. Auburn scored on 5 of their first 6 drives, 4 touchdowns and 1 field goal. UMass came out and scored on their first drive. I remember looking, and it was 7-7. I was like, UMass really might be good this year. They really might be shutting me up this year, which they still might be a good team, but way better than what – y'all get what I'm saying. So UMass came out, scored on the first drive, then punt, fumble, missed field goal in the first half. So the first drive was an outlier. Then Auburn defense got back to life, and UMass couldn't do nothing with it. Pumachan fumbled on a sack. Pumachan also throws a pick 6 to start the second half to Jalen Simpson. Auburn scored 3 touchdowns on 5 drives. The 2 drives that they didn't score on were a punt and turnover on downs. UMass scored a 58-yard touchdown, and Anthony Simpson, the transfer from Arizona, who I said they have to get involved. He did score for 50 yards out, but it wasn't from Pumachan. It was from Carlos Davis late in the fourth quarter. My takeaways, really don't have many takeaways. Obviously, Auburn is a way better football team than UMass. Obviously, Auburn was supposed to dominate this game, and they did. So nothing much really here to say. Nothing much really here to learn from. Just Auburn did what they were supposed to do. End of the day. So moving on. Now, this game, y'all going to kill me for it because I even had to change of heart doing I should have just stuck with my gut. But I tried to call my shot, and I got shot. So it is what it is. Cal, 58 at North Texas. Beats them 58-21. And my Pac-12 preview had Cal winning this game. Hold up. Okay. We have a $1.99 super chat from Tyrone Parker, Mr. Troll himself, Mr. Penn State himself. Says Penn State winning the Big Ten. Penn State over Michigan State. Get your arms ready. No, sir, my boy. Y'all not winning the Big Ten. Y'all have a shot though. Y'all really do, because my Big Ten winner didn't look so great. But all right, for those who don't know, me and Ty have a bet. Last year we had a bet. I lost. I owed him 200 push-ups, $5, and I had to do the push-ups with the Penn State theme song behind in the background. It took me like 20 minutes. My arms was hurting. This year we upped the stakes. 300 push-ups, $10, and the theme song still will be playing. Now, Ty, I'm not doing 300 in the same Instagram live, bro. That is dead. I'm not doing that. I can't do it. It's like, no. I will probably give you 150 and 150. I will probably go live twice in the same day, or go live Saturday night and Sunday. But one live, bro, I can't do it. Ain't no way. If I lose, but I don't think I'm losing. I think Michigan State has a shot of beating Penn State this year. So I think that's your call. And whenever your 300 push-ups come, I'll be grateful. No, I'm not going to make you do it all at once. You could do it day by day. As long as that Michigan State theme song is playing in the background while you're doing the push-ups, I don't care how many increments of push-ups you give me to get to 300. As long as that theme song is playing and I get my 300 and my $10, I'm fine. Moving on, though. On my week 1 preview, I switched it. I went to North Texas. I said, I think North Texas defense can settle in. I know it's not that great, but I think it's good enough to settle in against Cal. And boy, was I wrong. Cal put up 58 on their head with their starting quarterback actually getting injured early in the game. So, gotta eat that. I called my shot. I was wrong. Y'all can kill me in the comments. Y'all can kill me in the comments after the show. I'm man enough to take it. I was wrong. I was severely wrong. Should have just stuck with my gut, and now I wouldn't be here today. But let's get into the game a little bit. I don't have too much. Cal scored a touchdown on his first drive. Sam Jackson, the fifth, who ended up getting hurt, throws a 23-yard touchdown pass to Jeremiah Hunter. North Texas responds with Stone Earl throwing a 3-yard touchdown pass to Jamari Macklin. Cal misses the field goal with 3:58 left in the first quarter, which leads to a Stone Earl interception. Interception then leads to Cal running to my guy, who I think is going to have a pretty good year in his sophomore year, Jaden Ott, having a 4-yard touchdown run. North Texas responds with another Stone Earl touchdown to Jamari Macklin from 59 yards out, but then Cal scores touchdowns on 3 of last 5 drives. The only drives they didn't score on were a punt and a fumble, which that fumble did lead to a North Texas touchdown. Cal then scores on 4 of 6 second-half drives, which the 2 were an interception and a missed field goal they didn't score on. North Texas has 3 turnovers and 5 drives in the second half. The other 2 were punts. The turnovers were a pick, turnover on downs, and another pick. So Stone Earl finished with 3, I think, interceptions. So not too much there. Not too much there, man. North Texas defense did not play well. The offense matched it by not playing as well. And when you get those 2 things together, you can't get an upset even if you're at home. Just ugly prediction for your boy. All right, so to answer your question, Tay, it was Oklahoma beat Arkansas State, who's a Sun Belt team, 73-0. Not to be confused with Arkansas. Arkansas State, the Red Wolves, lost 73-0 to Oklahoma, which I figured that game was going to be a blowout. That's why I took the minus 36.5. Like I said, man, if y'all ever need to go over a little bit of gambling, like, I'm not the greatest gambler. No, I'm just your average guy who watches sports and gambles a little bit. But if y'all ever want some college football advice, just let me know in the comments during the live show, comments of a video, and I'll go over a little bit of what I think. I mean, I did have a parlay hit yesterday, so I'm pretty happy this morning. So, yeah, well, if ever y'all want me to do any gambling, like maybe even a gambling segment, let me know in the comments. I have no problem whatsoever because I'm going to bet anyway, so it makes me know, never mind. But, yeah, man. North Texas versus Cal. Crazy game. I was wrong. I apologize. Golden Bear Nation, excuse me. I do apologize. I'm looking up 1 second real quick to see one thing before I move on to the UTSA Houston game, because, boy, I have a lot to say in that game. Frank Harris, one of my favorite college quarterbacks. You're not excused from whatever trash talk you about to get. Jaden Ott, my guy, who I had having a spectacular sophomore year, starts off with 20 carries for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns. That is phenomenal. Great way to start the season there. Great way to start the season there. Ty, to answer your question, I ain't even gonna lie. Like, I already have I have a bet locked in for next week lines. I caught the lines early. Think they're gonna change a lot, so I got them early. And I already have like 6-7 more plays for next week. So yeah, if y'all want the segment, just let me know. I already got something ready to go. So just let me know. Moving on, we have UTSA at Houston. I picked the meats, the Road Runners of UTSA to win. Frank Harris did me dirty, and I will get into that game. Game starts with 4 punts. Not the way nobody expected this game to go. I'm pretty sure everybody thought this game would be high scoring, high flying, just barely any defense play, just great catches, great offense. No, starts off 4 punts. Houston breaks the touchdown drought with a Donovan Smith 8-yard touchdown to Joe Manjack. But then UTSA responds with the Kavonian Barnes 4-yard touchdown run. And I'm thinking, okay, here comes the fireworks. Here comes the offense. I was actually able to watch this game. I'm like, here comes the offense. The offenses just had to settle in. Houston turns the ball over on downs. UTSA stuffs a run, which leads to a punt. So UTSA defense did a phenomenal job all night. Stuffed Houston on 4th downs. Get into a little bit later why they had a phenomenal game. But yeah, both teams then missed field goals after the UTSA punt. Houston scores a field goal to end the half, however, to go up 10-7 at half. And then Frank Harris said, hold on, Carl, you need me to win you this game? Watch this. Frank Harris comes out and throws 3 interceptions back to back to back. Not 3 interceptions in the half, but back to back to back. Frank Harris throws 2 ill-advised interceptions. For one of the interceptions, he just threw it up right to the DB. Like, he didn't give his receiver a chance. Just threw it right up to the defensive back. Then the last one, he's scrambling, could get some yards, throws cross-body, gets undercut, DB, picks it off. I'm like, Frank Harris, come on. You are in your 7th year in college. You should know better than this. You are the most veteran player probably out here. What are you doing? Throws 3 interceptions back to back to back. Houston actually only scores 1 touchdown off of those 3 interceptions, and they had really great field position with them picks. But UTSA defense rises up. They on the second interception, Houston turns the ball over on down with another. I think they got a sack on that 4th down play. They got a sack on that play. They score off of the 3rd one. UTSA scored off of the 3rd interception, I believe. That defense was tired. I mean, not UTSA. Houston scored off the 3rd interception. Defense was tired. Just gave up plays because they were on the field too long. Frank Harris didn't do a good job of resting his defense. He actually, like I said, he put him on the field too much. And they were bound to give up a touchdown. So Houston scores on that. Frank Harris then throws a touchdown late game to score to make the game within 3 points. Now, this killed me too. Houston gets the ball. Houston gets 2 first downs. They're killing the clock. Houston gets to a 3rd and 3. They call a quarterback power, I believe. And in my opinion, Donovan Smith is short. It's 4th and 1. They have a decision to make. UTSA calls timeout. They review it. They say Donovan Smith gets the first down. I think that's very controversial. I don't think he got that first down. Houston's able to knee the ball out. Houston escapes with the W. Like, again, I think that was a very, very controversial overturn. I don't think he got it. I think the play should have stood. It should have been 4th and 1. But I'm not the ref there. And Houston probably would have got it. UTSA defense was tired. They tried their best to get them off the field to give the UTSA offense one more chance. Just couldn't get it done. Don't blame you. I'm sorry, Frank. You my guy, but I'm not biased. You got to get the blame for this loss. I'm pretty sure you told your teammates this loss is on you. But I know you're going to bounce back. You're still going to be a favorite to win the American Conference. Just got to bounce back from this L. So we move on to a game which should be investigated. West Virginia at number 7, Penn State. The final score was 15-38. I really don't have too much in this game either. Penn State dominated this game for real. The score is actually should have been the score. I don't think the score represents the game. I mean, yeah, it's only it's a 23-point win for Penn State, but Penn State kicker, man, missed 2 field goals. I'll get into that. Penn State starts the first drive with a Drew Law 72-yard touchdown pass to Keandre Lambert-Smith. West Virginia then scores after a defensive struggle. Scored a 2-yard touchdown run by C.J. Donaldson, another one of those sophomore backs. I think just had a good freshman year. That's going to have another breakout sophomore year. C.J. Donaldson gets the scoring going for West Virginia. Penn State responds with a 2-yard run of his own by Nick Singleton to score with 9:10 left in the second quarter. West Virginia then turns the ball over on downs with 5:06 left in the second quarter. Penn State misses 2 field goals to end the first half, one literally at the end of the first half. But then Penn State comes out the half and scores on 4 of its next 5 drives in the second half. The only one that wasn't a score was they punted their first drive and then proceeded to score 3 touchdowns and 1 field goal. While West Virginia, on the other hand, scored on 1 of its next 4 drives, not including the end of game drive. Again, I'm not counting those. So 2 drives by West Virginia ended on turnover on downs. Drew Allard had 21 of 29 for 325 and 3 touchdowns. C.J. Donaldson had 18 carries for 81 yards and a touchdown. They couldn't really get C.J. going too much, but he got 81 yards and a touchdown, so he had a pretty decent game. Now let's talk about the end of this game, shall we? Penn State is up 15-31. The spread is 21. So right now they're not covering. They're only up 16. They're down 5 in the spread. 4th down and 3. They don't kick a field goal to go up 18 and make West Virginia have to go down the field and score. No, they pass the ball. They go for it, pass the ball. They get it. They don't get a touchdown. West Virginia has no timeouts, under 2 minutes. They don't need the ball out. They run the football to score a touchdown to cover the spread. Now, I'm not going to accuse nobody of cheating. I'm not going to accuse nobody of inside information or anything like that. I did that in the chats. I'm not going to lie. I did do that in the chats. But I'm not going to do that on this show because I don't want to accuse anybody of anything. But in the chats and for trolling purposes, I did say one of the coach's friends bet on the game. Somebody in the staff bet on the game. One of the players bet on the game. Especially, I thought it was funny to make that joke in light of the whole Iowa State inside betting, the Iowa State thing. But in reality, I don't think that's the case. They probably used it as practice. I honestly have no idea. It might be the case, but I don't want to throw that accusation out there like that. That's not for me to do. Great win by Penn State. Dominated. Should have won by more points. Just a couple of things to fix, but they'll be all right. Moving on. It pains me to talk about this game. Whatever, Ty. North Carolina ranked 21 in the country. In Charlotte, we were technically the home team, though, so I have to say it, at South Carolina, at the neutral site in Charlotte. Final score 31-17. We're going to get into the game a little bit. So Drake May looked unstoppable. He was 11 for 12 at one point. The one incompletion was a drop on 4th down. Not his fault. Ball was in his hands. Receiver got to catch that. Drake May had led 2 touchdown drives and a field goal drive in the first half. Only drive ended in his only drive that wasn't a score, like I said, ended on turnover on downs, which was a receiver drop. That's not him. That's on the receiver. Spencer Rattler was running for his life all game. This O-line looked terrible. North Carolina had 9 sacks in the game. Spencer Rattler looked great when he had time. Even on the run, he looked really good. But this offensive line looked terrible. How we finally get a quarterback and we can't protect him. South Carolina still scored 2 touchdowns in the first half. The end of the first half, it was 17-14. South Carolina kicks an onside kick and recovers to start the second half. Hey, that's Shane Beamer. That's the special teams coordinator as the head coach. Shout out Shane Beamer for that one. But they turn the ball over on downs due to on a 4th and 4. And I'm sorry, I might mispronounce this. Amaranian Brown drops it on 4th and 4, drops a first down, gives North Carolina the ball back. That drop pass leads to a North Carolina touchdown. UNC then scores their last touchdown with 6:34 left in the third quarter to make the score 31-14. But South Carolina just can't finish drives. South Carolina catches 2 Drake May interceptions. One led to a field goal. That's because the return put us in field goal range. And one led to a turnover on downs. After our field goal, which was our last time scoring, we had 3 straight drives in turnover on downs. And to be honest, they're not Spencer Rattler's fault. Most of these drives ended that way because Spencer Rattler got sacked because he had no time to get the ball to anyone, and this O-line couldn't protect him, so he was going down. Drive killers. Sacks are drive killers. Third, especially when they're on third down, third down, you make them second. You make 30-17. Like, not so many people have too many plays to convert those, especially when you don't have time to allow plays to develop. So this South Carolina offensive line, terrible job. Spencer Rattler did a great job despite that O-line. Nick, I'm a worry. He exited the game the first drive with cramps, tried to come back, I think, a drive or two later and had to leave again. Had severe cramping. I don't think he came back after the second time. That was a huge loss in our secondary. Man, Drake May, what more can I say than second best quarterback in the country behind Caleb Williams? The man is a baller. The man is a game changer. The man is, when he's locked in, he don't miss. He made throws. I'm like, he made that throw? How did he hit that? He don't, like, even no matter how good your quarterback is sometimes, you're going to miss an open ball. He don't miss them. If you're open, he's getting that ball to you on stride. He's not going to miss you. He's not. He's just that good of a quarterback. And shout out to North Carolina, man. They came to play. They brought defense to the party. I didn't think they could, and they did. They showed me. And so I have nothing more to say, but hats off to North Carolina. Hats off to Mac Brown. He has 100 wins now with Texas and 100 wins with North Carolina. That's an amazing accomplishment. Hey, look, bro. I know Shane Beamer's father is Frank Beamer, and that's a legendary head coach, but you ain't got to grab my man by the neck, bro. You don't have to do that, man. That's the only thing I got bad to say about North Carolina in this game. He ain't had to touch my coach like that, man. But shout out to them. Great game. Moving on, we have Toledo at Illinois, which one, this game put up way more points than I thought it would. But two, I told y'all Illinois is going to win, but it's going to be really close. And actually, Illinois, if it wasn't for a heroic catch by Casey Washington, that game should have been Illinois could have lost this game. Illinois scored on his first drive, a Josh McCray 1 touchdown run. Toledo goes and scores a field goal on his first drive, making it 7-3. Toledo then goes with 4:37 left because the game becomes a defensive struggle as it was projected to be. They go and score 4:37 left with 4:37 left in the second quarter, a field goal, making it 7-6. Illinois turns the ball over on downs, which leads to a Daquan Finn touchdown to Jawan Newton to end the first half. So Illinois is actually down 13-7. Finn throws a 9-yard touchdown to Penny Boone to start the second half. So they double dip the first 8. I mean, not the first 8, the middle 8. And for those who don't know who the middle 8 is, it's the last 4 minutes of the first half and the starting 4 minutes of the second half. So from 4 minutes to clock hit 0-0 in the second quarter, and from the start of the third quarter to 11 minutes in the third quarter. So that's the middle 8. One of the middle 8, hands down. Then Luke Altmaier throws an interception to Maxon Hook, who was one of my guys in the secondary. I think he played safety. Finn throws a pick six. Right after that, Finn throws a pick six to Miles Scott. Then Luke Altmaier throws a touchdown to Pat Bryant, but the 2-point conversion is no good. Illinois takes the lead again. Luke Altmaier throws a 9-yard touchdown pass to Pat Bryant again, making for Pat Bryant's second touchdown of the game. Then Toledo hits a field goal with 9:38 left in the game. Daquan Finn runs in for the go-ahead touchdown with 2:59 left in the game to put Toledo up 1. Now, this is the heroic play. It's 4th and 4. Defense is closing in on Luke Altmaier. Luke Altmaier has to make a throw with somebody in his face. Throws the ball down the field. And Casey Washington, with superb coverage on him, makes a spectacular catch, goes up and gets the ball to keep the Illinois drive alive. If that ball is not completed, the game is over. Toledo takes over in Illinois territory, up to pretty much to ice the game. But Casey Washington makes a spectacular catch to keep the drive alive, which leads to the game-winning field goal with 8 seconds left, and Illinois wins the game. My takeaway from this, Toledo looking poised to be back-to-back MAC champions. I'm about to say MAC. Looking poised to be back-to-back MAC champions. And Daquan Finn is looking poised to have another great year. Illinois' defense I don't think it's as stingy. I don't think it's as great as last year's defense. But how can you be? With that defense being the best secondary, it's hard to repeat as the best secondary in the country again. It's hard to repeat as one of the best defenses in the country again, especially when you lose the production that they lost, losing 3 or 4 starters in that back end. So really good. I think they're still a really good secondary, just not as good as last year. But that remains to be seen. Now, these next two games, not really much to talk about. Now, the first game, Incarnate Word loses to UTEP at UTEP 14-28. The FBS debut streak is now over. It ends at 6. Jacksonville State is the last team to win for that. Gavin Hardison, I said pregame or preview. I said Gavin Hardison has to take care of the football. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 10-13, 94 yards. Deion Hankins. I said they have to get Deion Hankins going. They have to open up these lanes for Deion Hankins. And boy, they did not disappoint me. 24 carries, 174 yards, 7.3 yards per carry. No, he did not find the end zone, but 7.3 yards a carry, 174 total yards on the ground. Phenomenal game there. So they have to get the ball to Kelly Akari and Tyron Smith. Didn't really get the ball to Kelly Akari. Only had 1 catch for 6 yards, but Tyron Smith had 4 for 49 and a touchdown. Like I said, the run game was super efficient. Incarnate Word was able to score its first, scored the 2 touchdowns in the first half to make the game tie 14-14 until UTEP later on in the game opens the game by scoring 2 touchdowns of its own in the second half. The second half was 2 punts and a pick for Incarnate Word. Brandon Porter was like the only bright spot for Incarnate Word. 6 catches, 94 yards, and a touchdown. That was Zach Calzada's only touchdown pass. He did throw a pick. UTEP still struggles as a Conference USA team. They're probably not going to win a lot of games, especially against FBS opponents. Well, this wasn't an FBS opponent. No. Yeah, this was an FBS. No. Incarnate Word is still FCS. Sam Houston State is the FBS opponent. Give me 1 second, fellas. All right. So, sorry. I meant to write that for – I didn't. Yeah, I meant to write that for the Sam Houston State BYU game. That's where the streak ended. My apologies. Streak ended there. I wrote on the wrong one. My apologies. But, yeah, not too much from that game. UTEP is going to be in a lot of dog. Well, they might be in a lot of dogs too, but, yeah. Moving on, we have Sam Houston State at BYU. BYU only won 14-0, and this is why I'm not that high on BYU in the Big 12 Conference. Yeah, nothing much to take away from this game at all. It was a defensive struggle. BYU scored a touchdown on his first drive in the first half, which was the Keaton Slovis touchdown run. Other than that, in the first half, couldn't get nothing going. Sam Houston State didn't score at all, obviously, by getting shut out. BYU then scored on his third drive in the second half, which was another Keaton Slovis touchdown run. Not high on Keaton Slovis, like I told y'all in my previews. Sam Houston State throws 2 interceptions back-to-back to start the second half. They threw 3 total in the second half. Man, just sloppy game by Sam Houston State. Couldn't get nothing going, couldn't sustain anything. Neither could BYU, to be honest. Just an ugly game. BYU escapes 14-0. Nothing really much to say here. Moving on to Sunday. Northwestern versus Rutgers. Nothing much really to say here either. Northwestern having a lot of that due to that scandal with Fitzgerald. Looked terrible. Honestly, could have got shut out. They scored a garbage time touchdown late in the fourth quarter. Like I said, garbage time didn't matter. Rutgers, first 2 drives, scored a touchdown. Gavin Wimsatt looked phenomenal. His first 2 drives looked really well, looked really poised, but it is also against this Northwestern scandal-ridden defense and team. So won't get too high, won't get too low on Gavin Wimsatt, but he did look good from what I saw. I did see some things I liked. He looked poised, third down, things like that. Rutgers only put once in the first half and missed a field goal to end the half after catching an INT off of Ben Bryant. Ben Bryant did not look good at all. Second half, however, was the complete opposite. They had 4 punts and 1 touchdown. That was Rutgers. They only scored once in the second half, punt 4 times. Northwestern couldn't get things going on offense at all. Gavin Wimsatt, while going 17 for 29, 163 yards, a touchdown, 9 carries, 33 yards on the ground, and a touchdown on the ground. Did throw some passes that should have been picked that Northwestern just dropped. Like I said, won't say too much. Rutgers did what they were supposed to do. Dominated the football game. Was up 24-zip for shutting them out through most of the game before that garbage touchdown by Northwestern. So shout out Rutgers doing what they were supposed to do. Looks like a really ugly season for Northwestern, as to be expected. So from that one, yep, very sure. Going on from, we have number 18, Oregon State at San Jose State. Oregon State wins 42-17. Now, this one kind of hurt my parlay I won, but might have helped my parlay I won. Kyrie Robinson was the late game scratch. I didn't even know that until like right before kickoff. But I made the parlay before the Rutgers game because I bet Rutgers -5.5. Cash me out on that. But yeah, Oregon State scored 3 touchdowns on 4 drives. The one they didn't score on was a punt. DJU had a phenomenal game. I know it was San Jose State, but he played phenomenal. It looked like a change of scenery was what he needed. Had 3 he had all 3 touchdowns. He threw one and he ran for 2. San Jose State only had 1 field goal in the first half. San Jose State, like I said, without Kyrie Robinson. Second half, 3 touchdowns on 5 drives for Oregon State. One was turnover on downs, which he threw on 4th and 4. Got it completed, but for 3, short of the yard the game, turnover, and a punt. San Jose State scored 2 touchdowns in the second half. One in garbage time with Cordero didn't even throw the touchdown. The backup did. DJU went 20 for 25, 239 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, so 5 total touchdowns. Damian Martinez, 18 carries, 145 yards, 8.1 yards per carry. Your all Pac-12 preseason running back, first team. Phenomenal game there. Offensive line looked dominant. It was just making holes for the running backs. Gave DJU ample time. That's why he was easily finding open guys. Just had all the time in the world to find them. Defense looked really good, flying around to the ball and great coverage all throughout the game. Now, do I think it's as good as the defense last year? That remains to be seen. San Jose State was missing a receiver as well. Cordero, they was able to get to Cordero. I don't know if I could read too much into this game defensively for Oregon State. I got to see it against a different competition level. Cordero needs to use his leg more. I do think he needs to run the ball more. He looked efficient when he was able to get out of the pocket and scramble for yards. I understand he's trying to get the ball down the field, trying to get the ball to his receivers, but when nothing's there, sometimes you got to take off and go, and I think he hesitates at that. Sometimes he needs to do it more. Overall, Oregon State actually does look like a really good team. Now, do they look like a better team than SC? No. Do they look like a better team than Oregon? No. Washington? No. I think they're a better team than Washington State, Arizona State, and Stanford. Do they look better than Colorado? I don't know. I think I have them losing to Colorado. I think I'm sticking by that. Even with that first game, I think I'm sticking with it. But great game by Oregon State. Dominated the game. Covered the spread. So shout out to y'all for that. And the last game, the game you and I were all waiting for last night. Probably waiting for me to recap it if you didn't watch it yourself. Number 5 LSU at, again, neutral site, but they were the home team, at number 8 FSU. I thought this was a wrong team favorite game. I was on Florida State from the jump. If you see my ACC preview, you see my week 1 preview, you see my SEC preview, I was on Florida State from the jump. Florida State wins the game, final score 45-24 in Orlando. They say this is neutral site, but come on now. This isn't a neutral site. It's neutral-ish, like my boy A said in the group chat. Neutral-ish site. Orlando isn't that far from Tallahassee, and I know Baton Rouge is, so this is technically a home game for Florida State, but it wasn't in Tallahassee, so it's neutral. But yeah, LSU first drive, they taking the ball down the field. I'm like, oh man, LSU making this look a little too easy, getting chunk plays, but then Florida State steps up at the goal line, has a goal line stand, ends with a sack. So Florida State takes over. Florida State first drive looks beautiful as well. Drive the ball down the field. Keon Coleman catches a slant, gives a little boop boop, and takes it 40 yards to the crib. And I'm like, that's my guy. That's my guy, Keon Coleman. He should be in the green and white. But I digress. He's now a Seminole, so nothing I can do about that. But I told people before the game, Keon Coleman is game changing. I told y'all losing that to the transfer portal hurt. More about him later. LSU answers back with a 75-yard touchdown drive of their own. Trey Bradford scores on a 1-yard touchdown run. And now it's 7-7. I'm like, all right, bet. Now we got a game again. I'm sweating because this is my last leg on my parlay. Keon Coleman got the anytime touchdown, I bet. And I bet Florida State. So I'm like, oh, man. Should I have hedged before the game? I was thinking before the game I should have bet Keon Coleman and LSU to win the hedge just in case. So I'm sweating. So Florida State just starts to look real shaky. They do. They start to look shaky. You got a couple drop passes from Johnny Wilson who started to make me mad. I'm like, come on, Johnny. This is the thing that we said from the jump. You have to work on from last year to this year. It's consistent hands. You dropped 2 key passes. Come on, Johnny. After catching 2 key third down passes, actually 3 key third down passes on the first drive. Come on, Johnny. a couple, yeah, like I said, terrible. Man, I'll get into that later. LSU defense started to settle in a little bit, force some punts. LSU third drive, they march down the field again, but Florida State again gets a huge fourth down stop in the red zone. So LSU comes away with no points again. Brian Kelly should have been taking his points. I'm not gonna lie. The first one I can understand. We're supposed to be an SEC school. We're supposed to overpower you guys. I can get the first one. The second one, nah. You have to take your points there. So then FSU punts after the fourth down stop. Then LSU muffs the punt. LSU muffs the punt. FSU recovers the punt after 22. And I'm thinking, yes, we're in prime position to go score again. We got field goal at the minimum. But no, the very next play, broken down screen, Jordan Travis avoids the defender and throws a pick right to LSU. Throws it right there, right to him, trying to get a screen to Keon Coleman. LSU defenders in front of him the whole way, picks it off. Like it's not even, you either have to eat that football or throw it over Keon Coleman's head. You have a guy in the area, it's not grounding. Just throw it over his head or throw it at their feet. Me personally, I say eat the football. Because to be honest, the refs first half were flag happy. Anything FSU did. FSU even sneezed on the guy, laid out of bounds, flag. So I would have personally ate it because them refs would have probably called intentional grounding and it probably wouldn't have been called for. But they were flag happy for LSU in the beginning. So he throws that pick. The pick leads to a touchdown with a Noah Kane 1-yard touchdown run. Jaden Daniels on that drive has a 40-yard run on his own, dropping back to pass, nothing's open. He runs for 40 yards. FSU responds with a 21-yard go ball to Keon Coleman, making it 2 touchdowns in the first half. Keon Coleman's having a phenomenal game, just balling. Then LSU scores a field goal right before the half, and I just want to talk about that for a second. FSU has LSU on 3rd and 10. LSU is probably thinking we're going to run the ball. It's 36 seconds left. Jared Verse, let me talk about this first. Jared Verse on 2nd down, pass rushes, questionable. They say Jaden Daniels' arm was coming forward. That's pretty questionable. I thought he knocked that ball out first. But Jared Verse gets a sack fumble overturned, which LSU got the ball anyway, but he gets it overturned. So that actually saves Florida State a timeout and makes it from 3rd and 6, I think, or something, to 3rd and 10 from 25 seconds to 36 seconds. So give them more time. Something, all right, cool. Florida State is going to get stopped on 3rd down. They know the run is coming. They're going to stop, call the timeout, have a chance to score. No. LSU proceeds to break off a 35-yard run off of Jaden Daniels' audible. He moves the running back from his right to the left. They have 3 receivers to the left, so all the Florida State's defense is to the offensive left, defense is right. There's nobody on Florida State's defensive left. So he moves the running back to the opposite side and runs that way, breaks off 35 yards. Nobody in sight. He gets caught, thank God. Leads to an LSU field goal. LSU honestly could have scored, but they were trying to go at Fentrell Cypress with Malik Neighbors on goal balls because the safety wasn't giving help there. But why would I? I have one of the best corners in the country and one of the best receivers in the country. I trust my guys. He's going to have to beat him. He couldn't beat him. So it leads to a field goal. Florida State gets settled, in my opinion, after that Keon Coleman 21-yard touchdown drive because, man, Florida State scores on every drive in the second half. The first drive of the second half is the only field goal. After that, it was touchdown, 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 touchdown. Florida State got locked in. Florida State ties it, like I said, with the field goal coming out of halftime. Then Jordan Travis, like I said, he looks settled in. Bernardo Green catches an interception after Keon Coleman's 3rd touchdown to put Florida State up 24-17, which was another it was a fade ball, back of the corner, left side, fade ball to Keon Coleman. I said it before and I said it again. If you need to play in the red zone, dial 4. Basketball player, jump ball, go get her. So Bernardo Green then catches a pick. Jaden Daniels, receiver slips. Bernardo Green is there. It looks like a timing route. Time is obviously knocked off when you fall. So Bernardo Green catches a pick. His knee hits the ground on said interception, so it wipes away a 40-yard return. He didn't score, but it flipped field position. But it didn't matter because Florida State went and scored anyway. Florida State dominated the second half. LSU scored one touchdown late in the game in garbage time. It was like I think like a 60 or 80-yard touchdown to Brian Thomas late game. Didn't matter. It was more so like to make the scoreboard, I guess, cuter. You still lost by 21, but it's a way to not give up. I will say that. So, yeah, the Florida State just pretty much got what they won when they went up 31-17. The blown coverage led to a touchdown to Jaheim Bell, I think, led to a touchdown there. Then he got an end around late game, which was uncalled for, to be honest. Florida State, I think, could just need the ball out. It was like under 2 minutes left. I know LSU had all their timeouts, but I don't think LSU would have called them if they just took a knee. It was under 2 minutes. LSU could not win the game, so I feel like they'd have just let the clock ride. But they went and scored, and that led to the Brian Thomas touchdown, which led to your final score being 45-24. Now, I would say these stats, but I'm going to save them. Well, I'll say one stat line. I'll say three stat lines, excuse me, because I have major performances coming up. So I'll say three stat lines. My first stat line, Johnny Wilson, 7 catches, 104 yards. I know I'm not going to bring it up. That's 7 catches, 104 yards. Good job. Jaden Daniels, 22 of 37, 347 yards, a touchdown, a pick. The touchdown came off of the garbage time touchdown, and a lot of those 347 came off that garbage time touchdown. So do with that information as you will. Brian Thomas, 7 catches, 142 yards, and a touchdown. Again, that was the garbage touchdown score, so same applies there. Now on to some major performances. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 guys. I know there's a lot of guys for major performances, but it was a eventful, just stuffed, just a lot of things going on week 1. So packed full of action. So first one I have again John Rice Plumlee, 22 for 30, 281, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 8 carries for 90 yards and a touchdown. So almost 100 yards on the ground and almost 300 on the air with 4 total touchdowns. I know he had 2 picks and a fumble, but still played a great game. Not phenomenal, great game. Tyler Nubin, safety from Minnesota, 3 tackles, 2 interceptions, including the interception that led to the game-winning field goal. So shout out Tyler Nubin, safety, future pro. I have one in losing effort. Pofele Ashlock, receiver from Hawaii, 8 catches, 114 yards, and 2 touchdowns in a losing effort against Stanford. Still played a phenomenal game by him. I think easily Hawaii's best receiver. Shador Sanders, 38 for 47, 510 yards and 4 touchdowns. Already explaining how phenomenal that is. Travis Hunter, 11 catches, 119 yards, and an interception. So, again, explain how phenomenal that is. Mikey King, a guy that I said I liked in my preview show, 31 for 44, 366 yards, 4 touchdowns for Fresno State. Eric Brooks, 9 catches, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns at Fresno State. Michael Penix, 29 of 40, 450 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Caleb Williams, 18 of 24 for 319 yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 carries, 42 yards on the ground against Nevada. So great game by the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. Cameron Ward, which I know Trent's going to say is only Colorado State. I don't care. 37 of 49, 451 yards, 3 touchdowns while having 13 carries, 40 yards, and a touchdown on the ground. So 4 total touchdowns. Close to over 500 all-purpose, but 491 all-purpose yards. Drew Allard, 21 of 29. Drew Allard, 21 of 29, 325 yards, 3 touchdowns. DJ U, 20 for Oregon State, 20 of 25, 239 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 rushing touchdowns, 5 total touchdowns in general. Jordan Travis, my Heisman Trophy winner, went 23 of 31, 342 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a pick. And Keon Coleman, 9 catches, 122 yards, and 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 touchdowns. The hat trick for Keon Coleman and the win against LSU. So that is my week 1 recap for today. I hope you guys learned a little something. I hope you guys had fun recapping the games with me. I put a lot of time into this video. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to tell you how long it took me to write this all up. Just know, I won't. Just know I bought a notebook like 2-3 weeks ago, 100 pages, and I'm halfway through it. I'm probably got to buy another notebook. by the end of the week or 2 weeks from now. So I have fun making these episodes for y'all. Please like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed yourself. Again, shout out to Ty for the $1.99 super chat. I think you're wrong in that super chat, but I appreciate it nonetheless. Appreciate you, Tay. I don't have too much more to say, man. Week 2 is going to be another exciting week. Can't wait. Got a couple games, couple big games. We got Texas, Alabama. That's next week. That's going to be fun. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the show. And until next time, peace.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.